This is CBB Today. I'm Spencer Ostroff, and we are back with another video. We're going to do a Super Tuesday recap. We're going to do all the games in the same video, and we'll hop straight into it. So we're going to start with Purdue versus Nebraska. Now, I didn't think I'd be talking about this game. I thought maybe I'd make like a short-form video for it because it looked like it was a blowout. I mean, Purdue was up 20 at one point. They were killing them, and Nebraska clawed back. And look, I said earlier in the week that Nebraska, they didn't need to win this game. Obviously, it's not a must-win game for them, but you're expected to win this game now that you're not just like a cute story and it's fun Nebraska ball. Like, you should be winning these games at home. And they clawed back, and they showed a lot of fight. And I've said, like, these coaches like Fred Hoiberg, they're not into moral victories, but you can take stuff away from this game, right? On Purdue's side of things, I mean, Braden Smith had 13 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds. He didn't have his best shooting day, 5 for 15. And Fletcher Loyer shot 5 for 20, 4 for 17 from 3. I don't know, he started off decent and then just, 17 threes. He's not losing any of his confidence, which I guess is a silver lining, but he's going to need some of those to start dropping. Matt Painter needs some of those to start dropping because 4 for 17 come March is just not going to cut it. Trey Kaufman-Renn only had 6 points, but he only shot it 5 times, so I don't know. He had 19 rebounds. Oscar Clough had 14 rebounds, so they definitely won down low. Big win for Purdue, right? They lost. They had that 3-game skid against UCLA, Indiana, and Illinois, and they're back on track. Obviously, they killed Maryland last week, and then, getting a win at Nebraska, that is one of the better wins they'll have all season, so good for Purdue. I'm a little worried about Nebraska. I just, this is now their 3rd loss in 4 games. It was definitely like their schedule eases up. It gets a lot easier now. But that 4-game stretch, like, we knew they'd beat Rutgers, but the stretch they had Illinois, Michigan, and Purdue, and it's like 2 of those games at home. You probably want to go 2-2 in that 4-game stretch. Ideally 3-1, but you don't want to go 1-3 with your only win at Rutgers. So, look, they're still 21-3. Everything is still ahead of them. And, yeah, like I said, their schedule gets a lot easier. So, I'm not too worried about them. I think they can still get a top 3 seed in March. At worst, like a 4 seed, which is still great. But, yeah, that was a very fun game. Very fun game for a Tuesday. So, that's all for that game. And, yeah, let's move on to BYU versus Baylor. So we had a few different storylines in this BYU versus Baylor game. Obviously, to start off, the Robert Wright homecoming, if you could call it that. It wasn't much of a homecoming. He was getting destroyed by the fans all game, and it looked like it fueled him because he had 30 points on 12 for 21 shooting. AJ DeBansta had 36 points. They both played the whole game. I think they said first BYU teammates to both have 30 in the same game since like 1984, which is crazy. Richie Saunders added 15. Kennard Davis had 12. BYU was down early in this game. They were down 33-21 early on. And look, BYU's defense is a legitimate concern. I think we've established that by now. But Baylor was also, they were shooting the cover off of the ball. They were 6 for 7 from 3 to start the game. So, look, very nice way for BYU to bounce back. Especially, they were on a 4-game skid. They had lost 5 of their last 6. And then they're down double digits early. If they lost this game, their season would have been completely unraveling. They wouldn't have been on the bubble, but they would have been heading towards the bubble because they were already projected to be like a 7-8 seed. If they lost, they would have been an 8-9, and then it gets tricky. But nice win for them. AJ DeBansta, an efficient 36. He was getting some slack for having some inefficient, unethical games recently. 14 for 20 from the field. He also dished out 7 assists. On Baylor's side, I mean, they're not going to make the tournament. They're 13-11 now. Disappointing season, but look, Tunde Yesufu, I'm excited to see him next year in the NBA. He had 37 points on 12 for 19 shooting. He was great. And Cameron Carr, another one, will be in the NBA next year. But he had 24. So him and Yesufu combined for 61 points. Probably need more from other guys. But, yeah. That's about it from that game. BYU gets back on the right track, and Baylor is probably headed towards the NIT unless they can make something magic happen. I mean, they have some good games upcoming. If they can steal a few games that they're not supposed to win, who knows? It's weird stuff happens in college basketball. But yeah, that'll wrap up this game, and we will now move on to Vanderbilt versus Auburn. So Vanderbilt got the job done. They were 3.5-point underdogs, and I honestly didn't really know how going into the game because Vanderbilt, time and time again, have they been a little inconsistent? Did they just lose to Oklahoma at home? Yes. But time and time again, they've shown that they're legit. And this is still no Duke Miles, no Frankie Collins, and Tyler Tanner had another nice game. Was it the most efficient game? No, but he got to the foul line. He dished out 6 assists, 25 points. Jalen Washington added 22. All-around nice game. I mean, they won by 8 points. The final score was a lot closer than that game was. They were up 15 points for a lot of that game. Auburn, they brought it back, but this Auburn team, I can't stand them. I cannot stand watching them. I've been saying it all year. Like, it wouldn't shock me if they missed the tournament. Right now, they're 14-10. On Joe Lenardi's recent bracketology, I think they were a projected 9 seed. They are, they could miss the tournament outright. It's, they are not a lock to make it. And they have a very talented team. Obviously, Todd Pettiford, Kevin Overton, Keyshawn Hall, and Keyshawn Murphy. Keyshawn Hall got benched in this game. He was not in foul trouble. He was 3 for 13 from the field. He was out of the game. Auburn started making a comeback. They brought it down to being down 4 points, and he wasn't going back in. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel bad for Stephen Pearl. Everyone just thinks he's a terrible coach, and I just don't think it's his fault. I mean, this was not his roster. This was his father's roster that his father built, and it was built very poorly. It's just a bunch of guys that want to play ISO basketball, and that's just not winning. It's not going to work in the SEC. It's not going to work when you play good teams like Vanderbilt. So, good win for Vanderbilt. I think they're on their way to being a top 4 seed. They could be top 3 at this point. I mean, they're building a nice resume, and Auburn needs to figure it out quick. Because even if they make the tournament, I mean, they're going to be a 10 or 11 seed in my opinion. But I made a bold prediction in December that they were going to miss the tournament. So, we'll see. I'm kind of hoping that they lose a couple more games. And yeah, that'll wrap it up for this game. And now we will move on to Miami versus North Carolina. So after UNC's big upset win over Duke, they lay an egg against Miami. And I don't want to take anything away from Miami because Miami played well. They honestly controlled this game. UNC clawed back a couple times. A few times they went down 2 or 3. But at no point when I was watching this game was I think UNC is going to win this. And that came down to their guard play at the end of the day. Their guard play, just not Seth Trimble and Derek Dixon combined 1 for 14 from the field with 6 points. That is horrid. That makes me sick. Caleb Wilson, 12 points. Henry Vasar, 11. Their leading scorer had 13 points, Jaron Stevenson. You're probably not going to win much in conference on the road when that's the case. They didn't get much from their bench. Yeah, I've talked about it a lot. I'm not a big fan of the UNC team. They're poorly built. Their guard play is just not that good. And when Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasar don't play really, really good, they're going to be in trouble. And obviously, unless they play 6 straight great games in the tournament, they're not going to do much. So, look, I'm not a big fan of this UNC team, and I think this says more about UNC not being that good than Miami, and I don't want to take anything away from Miami, because, Malik Renew is having a great year. Sheldon Henderson's a stud. Trey Donaldson looks like he's fitting here more than he did at Michigan. Ernest Uday came from TCU. He's doing well, too. He had 15 and 10, 7 for 8 from the field. This Miami team's good. I don't want to take anything away from them. They will make the tournament. They have an 83% chance after that win. They'll be an 8, 9 seed, maybe 7 if they keep playing well. But, UNC's expected to win these games. And yes, it was basically a pick'em from Vegas, but that's because it's on the road in conference. But you're North Carolina. You're a blue blood, right? Maybe not after storming the court against Duke the other day, but you're supposed to be a blue blood. You should be winning these games. Duke's not going to lose at Miami, I think. I hope not after I said that, but you can't you should have a lot of momentum after that Duke win, and then I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the guard play. I don't know if it's the coaching. I don't know. Is Hubert Davis just... I see a lot of UNC fans just don't think he's the guy. Maybe he's not. I don't know. But, yeah, great win for Miami. Great win for Miami. And UNC just got to be more consistent. You got to be more consistent. I said it last week. They are one of the top teams in the ACC. I just need to see more out of them consistency-wise. It's that simple. It's kind of like with Louisville. Louisville is a top... they're talented. just like UNC. UNC and Louisville are both two very talented teams that just have been super inconsistent all season. So I got to see more from UNC, and good win for Miami. And now we will move on to Illinois versus Wisconsin. The Big Ten might just be the conference that keeps on giving, because they started with Nebraska and Purdue, which didn't look like it'd be the best game, and then it turned into a thriller. And then an hour later, Wisconsin and Illinois doesn't look like it's the best game ever. And then, wow. All I can say is wow. Wisconsin escapes 92-90 in overtime. They were up 89-81 in overtime. Almost let it slip away. Keen Wagler had a chance to win the game at the end. I can't talk enough about him. He had 34 points on 12 for 23 shooting. David Mirkovic missed some big free throws down the stretch. I hope he doesn't beat himself up too bad. Obviously, no Kylan Boswell and no Andrei Stojakovic tonight for Illinois. So, yes, it's like they weren't playing. You probably should still win that game at home. But they do get a little bit of a pass because, look, they only were playing 6 guys. 6 guys. So, look, you want to win that game because you have your eyes set on moving up the seed line and trying to get a 2 seed. And even like they could have played their way into a 1 seed, but that at this point is not possible. They just have too many losses. Like the teams in front of them just have 1 or 2 losses at this point. So Illinois will be all right. Wisconsin, they are cementing themselves as a real threat to not like go to the Final Four or win a championship, but they are going to make the tournament, and they can win a couple games in the tournament. They started off the year really rough. Obviously, they got killed by BYU, and I think a lot of people kind of wrote them off. But Nick Boyd and John Blackwell are just like, that's an unreal backcourt. They combined for 49 points tonight. Nick Boyd, shout out Jersey. We all saw him at FAU under Dusty May in that Final Four run. Like, we all know what he's capable of. John Blackwell, we saw him last year, had a great year, and he's having another great year. Yeah, Wisconsin, they're good. Like, they're good. This is now a win at Michigan and at Illinois. That's, like, insane. That's, like, an insane top 2 wins. So, yeah, Wisconsin's good. Greg Gard's obviously a good coach. And Illinois, they'll be just fine. They will be just fine. If you're an Illinois fan, do not freak out over this. I don't think you would freak out over this because you're playing shorthanded and you very easily could have won that game. But we'll see how Illinois responds, and we'll see how Wisconsin can do moving forward if they can, really string a big winning streak together. So, yeah, that'll do it for the games. I hope you guys enjoyed. That was a very, very fun Super Tuesday. And we, obviously we had Arizona, Kansas last night, so it's been a good week so far. And then there's a lot of games this Saturday, which we will preview later in the week. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe so you don't miss any of the new videos. We do reactions every Monday, and then previews, analysis, and recaps during the week. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and, comment. Let me know what you guys want to see next, and I will see you guys next time. CBB today. Peace.